It feels to me like Drake Maye's tracking to play in this ballgame. Is that still the general sense out there?
Yes, absolutely.
Feels that way.
Yep.
So, which I think is good. Good for him. Good for you. Good for all of that. A question has come up. When he comes back, do you treat him differently? When he comes back, do you treat him differently, Mazz?
I would say largely no, other than I don't run him. I mean, but I wasn't doing that before, so I don't know if that's really different. But my answer is no. In fact, the more I think about it, this whole scenario of should he play, should he not play this week? Would you be better off holding him out? And I heard, Beadle and McBone talking about this just a short time ago. I'm starting to think that this week, going through this protocol and kind of powering through it, if that's what it is, or at least having every intention of playing, is as beneficial to his development as a quarterback as playing in the game itself and being on the field. Like, I do believe in a significant part of that position being continuing to get out there. The stability of that position is really, really important. So, like, at the end of the day, do I treat him differently? Not really. No. I mean, I let him play, do everything he normally would do. And if he has some sort of, I say significant head injury, then you might want to get the ball out of his hand a little bit quicker, stuff like that. But otherwise, no, I don't.
Nope, you don't try to tame a thoroughbred, and that's what he is. Why have him play with one hand tied behind his back, basically? Like, one of his better attributes is his ability to run. I wouldn't tell him to stop that. No, I'm not treating him differently.
I am. Not because of the concussion, though. It has nothing to do with the concussion. The only thing that the concussion does is serves or gives the coaches the ability to say, see, the more you do that, and again, I know running's a big part of his game and should be going forward in big games and big spots, all that. I know it. I don't need to see him. I said this even before he hit the field. I don't need to see him run. I know he can run. And it's like he's not – I think him running – isn't really part of the development. I don't know. It's there. That's nothing that has to be honed. That's nothing that has to be developed. He runs really well. And if defenses are stupid enough, like the Jets were, to let him go, it's there. Like, that's done. Box checked. No development needed. In fact, I would say the development that's needed is knowing when to expose yourself and when not to. So I'm not worried about the concussion, like him exposing himself to another headshot because he just had one. No. I'm talking about long-term and what I want him to be as a quarterback, which is a guy that scrambles around to find his next throwing platform. And if it's 3rd and 7 and they're giving you 8, take it. Otherwise, what are you doing? And so I would treat him differently. That's how I feel about the thing, Mazz. I would be saying the same thing if I were in D.C.
But you felt that way before he got the concussion.
100%.
Yeah,
with all these quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean, look, the idea of him being a runner, to me, is you don't want that. I mean, and I guess I was talking primarily about, called runs for Maye. But do I want him, playing scared? No, I don't. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I guess I do. And it's not scared. It's just don't run. Be smart. Get down. Get out. I know you can run. There's got to be a way to discourage it without discouraging him, and find that balance. And use this as a teachable moment. See, the more you do that, the more you're going to expose yourself. The more shots you're going to take. The more time you're going to spend on the sidelines. Save that for when we need it. And it's interesting. I think Van Pelt feels the same way. Van Pelt has not called a single running play for Drake Maye. He did in the preseason. I forgot about that. The touchdown that he scored was an RPO action there down by the goal line.
Yeah, Philadelphia.
But here in the regular season, there's been no designed runs, and that is by design. Van Pelt, I think, feels the same way I do. Number 3, Kevin.
I've been in systems where you have quarterback runs and, led to injury, season-ending injury. So I know the value of that position. High leverage situations, 4th and 1 game on the line maybe, but he's going to make enough plays outside the pocket, in a normal drop back game or play action game where he scrambles. So, again, ultimately it's that balance of, protecting your quarterback. I have to protect him as well as him protecting himself.
Good for you. Good answer. Yeah, there's one that made me feel good about the coaching. And I haven't had many of those this year. And that piece about I don't need to call any runs for him because there's going to be enough times where he's just going to take off because that's what he does. And I've been in offenses where we've had design runs and lost quarterbacks for the season, or something like that. I meant to look back through his bio and see where and when that would have been. Did they get a Cleveland quarterback? He went through 4 of them last year in Cleveland. Did one of them get hurt on a designed run?
Good question.
Go back and look. Where I will see, Green Bay, Buffalo. Well, he's been in a lot of places. So I go back and look and see is there a specific one that he's referencing. But good for you, Alex. Yeah, you don't need to call a design run for Drake Maye. He takes off at the first provocation, and which is like another thing. Like I would try and teach him that developing Drake Maye, that word, developing him, means he's tucking it and finding more space behind the line of scrimmage to make the next throw. That's developing him. Him taking off and running is not developing. He's got it. And every college quarterback does. Like, what is that? What is that to Daniel Jones? He just tuck the ball and run like a gazelle. Like, it's not developing him. And I'd say that, so good for Alex Van Pelt. Maybe he gets it there. Interesting. All right, any other Patriots thoughts to lead this off? Van Pelt also said something at the end of his presser that I wonder if you agree or disagree with. He thinks they're playing better and really talked up like the progress they'd made. Number 5, Kevin.
I think that's the mindset. It really is. And hats off to Jacoby again to get himself ready to come in and win that game with 3 third-down conversions, one he used his legs on. I mean, that's big-time football. I think as a team and as a group, we're getting better. And that's what we talked about early in the season. How do we get better, play our best football as the season progresses, not take steps back. And I think we've been moving forward. So I'm really happy with our progress. And it's not where we need it to be by any stretch, but I think we're playing some better football than we have earlier in the season.
You agree?
No. And I'll tell you, I agree in one area. No, I don't.
Excellent. 617-779-0988.
So I'll tell you why. Because, I heard the comment, and the first thing that popped into my head was, I don't know if I'm going that far. I'm not sure they're playing better yet. They had one game. Now, the one area, I'll give them an asterisk for this.
O-line?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The O-line's had 2 good weeks in a row.
There's stability there, if nothing else.
So that to me
I don't know if it's good, but it's stable.
I need patterns. I need to see a repeat of the behavior. That's what I need to see in order to believe that they're getting better. So with the offensive line, I would say 2 weeks in a row, the offensive line has been roughly the same. That is a slight improvement, definitely. Now, again, if they regress, then it's hard to sort of get confident in it. So we'll see what happens this week against Tennessee. It's a good defense. But overall, is the running game better? No. Is the pass game better? No.
Well,
with Maye in there, it was a little bit.
And Brissett was better, but the receivers aren't any better.
No, they're not.
Oddly enough, the passing game is better.
Yes.
But the receivers have gotten worse.
And defensively, I would say not really. I don't
think he's talking about defense.
Right. So he's the offensive guy. So to me, I'd say not really. I'm not there yet.
They are getting better offensively, which let's not, as Harvey Keitel said in Pulp Fiction, let's not go
suck each other's popsicles.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's better. They've scored last 3 games 21, 16, and 25 points. That is better. As sad as that is, that's averaging around 20 points a game. But that is. So that's just the scoreboard. They are getting better, but the receivers are not. I'm with you. The running game is not. Quarterback play has improved, which it's hard for it to get any worse. But let's see this week. I expect them to get better, whether it's Brissett or Maye. And, oh, by the way, I expect it to be Drake Maye. And it should be Drake Maye, and it's tracking for Drake Maye, and that's good. And but are they? Do you feel it? So you just don't feel it's getting better?
I'm just not there yet. No. Look again. I can't dispute the fact that they won last week, and they did some things that were better.
And they scored a season high in points.
Yes, and
I think 25 has got to be it, right?
Right, but one of the big plays came on special teams. And I do think that, obviously Maye has made a difference. And again, the big one for me is the offensive line, because that was an area that was absolutely horrid for the first 6 weeks of the season. Weeks 7 and 8 have been better. Indisputable. Fact. But I need, for me to say the whole thing that they're playing better as an offense, I need to see it come together, over a period of games.
So certainly the receivers have gotten worse. Van Pelt also talked about that. Alex Van Pelt obviously spoke today, so this is what you're hearing. Number 4, Kevin.
They're disappointed. There's no question. That's a group that, we expect more out of. Just handling the football, I think, is the biggest thing. Drops come in bunches, catches come in bunches. So, my message to them was to keep working. You're lifelong receivers. You catch the ball for a living, so it's nothing new to you guys. So just, focus on the next rep, focus on how I get better during the week of practice. Ultimately, we're going to, throw the ball to those guys. They're going to make plays for us moving forward. They're disappointed as anybody, in the way they handled the ball Sunday, but expect better out of them for sure, and so do they.
All right, catches come in bunches, drops come in bunches. I'd say definitely the second thing. We haven't seen much of the first thing now, have we?
No.
So this is a
other than Hunter Henry, who's a tight end.
Yeah, So I'm not sure if that was included in the analysis there, but so this is another thing for Alex Van Pelt. He's not just. I got to give Van Pelt a check mark for the quarterbacks. The quarterback play has gotten better, both guys.
Yeah.
So I'll give it to him. The offensive line has stabilized. I'll give it to him. But not, listen, again, that's to a point. Stabilized this is relative to where they were. The running game has not gotten better, and the receiving core has definitely gotten worse. And, it's like that's twofold. That's on the field and off. So I know we've hit on that receivers coach. Doesn't feel like it was the most overly qualified guy that they brought in for that position or experienced guy at the NFL level. So this falls on Van Pelt.
Just real quick, do either of you give credit to Elliott Will for finding this Ben Brown at center, who's been good for him the last couple of weeks, or is this like hitting a scratch ticket for him because he picked them up off the trash heap?
Nope, I rip him for the bad moves. I give him praise for the ones that work.
Yeah, I give him some credit for Brown.
Okay, so he's 1 for 8 on the offensive line.
Right, exactly.
But the one's the one.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I'll give you credit for the one. And now let's discuss all the other guys.
Yeah, the other thing is it took them long enough. They've been looking for a center since before the season started. All summer long, they didn't get one. So it took a long time, but ultimately they did hit on one, it looks like.
If you like that clip, check out more videos from Felger and Mazz here. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.